We're going to teach you the 4 things that you need to know to have an excellent backpacking trip. The number 1 thing that I think is the most important that you absolutely need to know is
hike your own hike. Hike your own hike.
Is to hike your own hike. People are going to tell you that you need to have this, you need to have that. If you don't have this, it's going to be a terrible trip, an awful experience. But it's up to you. It's up to you to find out what works best for you. You can listen to people, you can take advice and look through guides and do all this to try to figure out what's best, but you won't know what's best for you until you've had the experience. If your thing is hiking up a mountain with weights and you get to the top and you're busting out reps like crazy, that's great. I'm super happy for you. I found that in my experience, having a lighter pack makes for a better hike. Most people would agree. But that might not be your thing. I know people that have hiked with 60-pound packs and had an amazing time. They brought everything with them. The kitchen sink, they brought books, they brought big old kettles. They had an awesome time. A lot of people will tell you that you should absolutely never bring those things. I would do my best to start out with a lighter pack and then go from there, but who knows? Hike your own hike. Number 2.
Remember the essentials.
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 No X, no X.
Remember the essentials.
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 Perfect. Look up a list, do your research, come up with the things that you absolutely should have with you for a safe and comfortable trip. Again, some of these things are subjective. A lot of people will say that you absolutely need a knife. But I don't hike with a knife anymore. I mean, it depends on where you're going. It depends on the situations that you plan on finding yourself in. Shelter is important. Clothes that are appropriate for the place that you're going to. Food and a means to acquire water. Figure out what the essentials are and make sure that you have them. Check your list twice because you don't want to leave something behind that belongs on there. Number 3.
Try nothing new.
This kind of falls under number 1 of hike your own hike, so if you want to do this, go for it, but my recommendation would be to not try anything new on the trail when you get out there. If you got your tent, know how to set it up before you've been out, have set it up before you've been out, and if I were you, I'd water test it and make sure that it's not going to leak on you. When you hike, you're going to find that you have much less of an appetite than you normally do. Not everybody, but I have to make myself eat. If you have something new with you that you haven't tried before, and you come to find out that you don't like it at all, that's going to be a problem. You might end up short on calories, and you're not going to have the energy to make it through the rest of the hike in a happy fashion. Know your gear, know your food, know everything before you go so that nothing comes up as a surprise, because when you're out on the trail, it can be one of the worst times to be surprised.
Know your limits. Know your limits.
Know your limits. When you plan your trip, it's best to have a trip planned that you know that you're going to be physically capable of. That's going to be different for everybody. Plan your trip around your physical limits. Even if you are capable of doing something, if you're spending your whole time just barely reaching your goals, just barely making it there at the end of the day, you might find that you're not having as good of a time as you could be. For some people, that's everything. For some people, that's the hike that they want to have. Hike your own hike, but make sure that you can do it and that you're going to have a fun time when you do. Plan ahead. Get your maps, figure out your distances and elevation gains. Know what your pack weight's going to be ahead of time, and then get out and hike on trails that are in your area. We live in Iowa. There are no mountains here, so I can't get an exact one-to-one for the trip that I'm going to have, but I do the best that I can so that I have an idea of where I'm at in terms of fitness, so that when I get there, again, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's not like I should plan a 26-mile hike up a mountain day 1 and then more hiking afterwards, because that would be not good. I would never do that. I may have done that. That did not end well.
I did it actually.
It didn't. No, we hiked back. No, and that sums up the list of 4 things. I guess a 5th thing would be that you want to make sure that you plan. Do your research, plan ahead, and you're going to have a good time.